Thanks for checking out the I Am More Than podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Wessel, a former Miss Arizona USA, professional model, self-acceptance advocate, hype girl, and founder of More Than Inc. In this podcast, we talk about the things that actually matter, from mental health to health and wellness, body image and confidence, and social issues. We're here to uplift, educate, inspire, and grow together. Each week, we'll feature a unique and incredible woman to share her story of how she's so much more than whatever you may know her as. We'll laugh, cry, and feel inspired in every episode, and trust me, there's no topic off limits. Whether you're commuting, working, or enjoying a glass of wine, we're so honored to have you here, and I'm excited to welcome you to the More Than movement. We're just getting started. This episode is brought to you by Equilibria. Equilibria is a premium CBD company made by women for women. The two founders wanted to share the healing powers of CBD for chronic pain, mental health, stress management, and so much more. My girlfriend introduced me to Equilibria back in 2019 while we were on a modeling job together. I expressed my struggle with anxiety, constant hip and back pain, and frequent headaches and stomach aches. She convinced me to order a signature box with their daily drops, soft gels, and relief cream, and I have never looked back. The coolest part about Equilibria is they have a full-time dosage specialist who works with each customer directly to figure out how to best use their products to improve the quality of your life. They understand that every body is different. After 3 months of consistent use, I cut my anti-anxiety medication in half, and I've noticed I'm sleeping so much better. Equilibria is backed by science and created with 0 fillers delivered straight to your door. With a wide variety of products, there truly is something for everybody. We've teamed up to offer our listeners 15% off your first order with code MORETHAN. Now let's dive into the episode. This week's guest is a certified health coach, entrepreneur, creator, and ultimate girl's girl. Her holistic perspective on health and wellness is so inspiring to me, and she's constantly learning new ways to encourage her community to live a healthy and happy lifestyle. In this episode, we dive into gut health, the importance of properly nourishing yourself, mental health, body image, launching a company, and surrounding yourself with an uplifting community. She's the founder of the community-driven wellness retreat called Camp Conscious. It's a revolutionary way for women to connect with each other and build relationships while also learning about the latest health and wellness trends. Throughout 2020, she formulated, created, and launched another brand called My Girl Wellness. My Girl Wellness is a digital space and a no-judgment zone where women can talk about the things that actually matter. From your sex life to bloating and career goals, My Girl truly covers it all. They also have a line of supplements created to support a healthy gut and aid in digestion. I ordered their Better Belly system after recording this episode, and I've noticed such a difference in my bloating and stomach pain over the last month. We've teamed up to give our listeners 15% off your order of any My Girl Wellness products using the code MORETHAN15. I'm so excited to introduce you to the ultimate health and wellness boss babe, Tayla Burke. Welcome to the I Am More Than podcast. I am stoked to have you here.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm super excited to be here. I'm slightly still a newbie to the podcast world, so you're getting me out of my comfort zone, but I'm so excited.
Hey, good things happen when we're pushed, right? Well, I first discovered you when you took over the SI page and you were talking all things health and wellness. And I automatically fell in love with you and just your holistic approach to health and everything that you stand for. So I'm excited to kind of figure out what your journey was to get you to the platform that you're at now. So let's just dive into your health and wellness journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been so passionate about eating healthy and exercising and, discovering the latest and greatest health trends out there. It's something that I just truly enjoy. And I think the health space is just naturally such a positive place that just instills so much personal growth in you that I loved being a part of it. I felt really good in it. And I wanted to share that with others. I loved cooking. I loved just the tips and tricks out there and talking with my friends about it. And so I really wanted to create a space of my own where I could share all of this and women could come together to share experiences, talk about their issues, figure out, where they're needing support and having that really strong community to kind of aid in their success. I think, especially when it comes to a woman's success, having a strong support system is vital. And with that system, I truly believe you can accomplish anything you set your mind to, because you know you have those people to kind of fall back on during the good and the bad days.
I could not agree more.
Yeah, so I guess my health and wellness kind of journey, obviously the passion was there prior, but I really decided to take it up a notch when I got my health coaching certification. And so it was a year program. A lot of you have probably heard of it. It's through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. So it's a very holistic approach. And I did that simultaneously while I had a full-time job, just to make sure that I felt stable during the whole process. I didn't know exactly where I wanted to take it, but I knew I wanted to head in that direction. So for me, it was kind of overloading my schedule for something that I was passionate about to pay off in the end. So I did the certification definitely for personal growth at the forefront. It's something I just wanted to learn about, just to kind of enhance my own life. And then as I was doing it, I really found tools and things that stood out that I was like, wow, I really think that I could help so many other women on top of myself in kind of this aspect. I got my health coaching certification, and that kind of led to the birth of Camp Conscious, which is my retreat series, which I'm sure we're going to dive into at some point, but hopefully that answered your question.
Oh, it totally did. And I love that you started just trying to heal yourself and then spread that knowledge with so many other people, because I think the majority of women, and I'm sure you can relate to this too, when you're talking to them, we all struggle with trying to figure out like what works best for our health. So many of us struggle with stomach aches or headaches or skin issues or all of this. And I think there's a holistic way to handle it instead of going towards medication or any of the products that are pushed at us. So were you surprised when you were going through the certification process of what you learned and how you could integrate it in your own life?
Absolutely. I mean, food is medicine at the forefront. And I truly believe that. And I think that you can heal so many of your issues through really hyper focusing on your diet and making simple shifts in it. Obviously, we need other, supplements to kind of your diet. Even having a perfect diet, there's going to be gaps in your nutrition. There's going to be gaps in, health issues. So I understand that there's support beyond that, but I think really focusing in on your food first and natural remedies and supplements is what really intrigued me and kind of aided in my own personal kind of like healing journey with my gut issues.
Can you go into what your gut issues were looking like, just if any of our listeners can relate to what you were experiencing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is something, especially among women, I think it's around 70% of women have experienced digestive issues at some point in their life. And at some point in their life, to me, is probably like pretty common. It's not just one time. It's like if you're experiencing them, it's not just a one and done. It kind of happens consistently.
Yeah.
But I think my biggest issue was always struggling from food-related bloat. I could eat so clean and healthy and bloat up like a balloon. And it's not just that like, oh, you look in the mirror and you're like, I look pregnant. It's the discomfort and the pain. And it's almost like your stomach feels like it's going to burst and pop. And it's just, you feel really bad about yourself. It makes you cranky. And no matter how hard you try, it's defeating because you can eat as clean as you can. You can make sure to avoid all of the trigger foods. And sometimes it still happens. So I think the bloating was my biggest issue. And then also the constant fatigue and head fog. I could sleep 9 to 10 hours a night and wake up and, the entire next day feel like I could not think straight. I couldn't concentrate. I relied on multiple cups of coffee. I would go through phases where it was the total opposite, where I couldn't sleep at all. And maybe I'd be up every hour during the night wired. And so I had restless sleep patterns. I felt super down for no reason. There's nothing tangible that I could attach it to. I suffered from crazy anxiety and slight depression, and just feeling like I had a dark cloud over my head for no reason. And it kind of makes you feel guilty because you're like, there's nothing wrong in my life. I'm so grateful for, everything and privileged for everything I have, but yet I feel so down and I don't know why. So I think and it's hard because you don't really have anything physical to show for that. It's all kind of internal feelings.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to pinpoint that. And it really took some time for me to educate myself, talk to professionals to really understand the crucial role your gut plays in your overall health and well-being. So once I kind of dived into that and really made some simple shifts in my diet, my lifestyle, I felt kind of worlds better. It was such a change, and that's something I really want to share with other women because I'm not the only one. It's so common.
It's so common. What are some of those tangible shifts that you were making that shocked you that you're like, this was so easy for me to fix? What are some easy things that you implemented?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to step one, food, taking
Yeah.
a look at your diet, and I think let's go back a little bit. I think the most common triggers for gut issues are one, lack of sleep, which, we're all going a million miles per hour. Sometimes you don't prioritize sleep, especially when we're young. We think we're invincible. We can stay out late. We can wake up early, you know? And then stress is a huge trigger. It's one of the top. I mean, when you can't control your stress, it can throw off your gut health like no other. It can deplete you of good bacteria in the stomach. It can overgrow the bad bacteria, which really takes over and throws your gut out of whack. And then poor diet, also antibiotics. So we know that, and that kind of goes into the holistic approach versus the other side of it. And, we go to doctors, they're like, oh, just take a Z-Pack for that, or, oh, just take antibiotics. And it's like, you're trying to fix one problem, but you're also, giving yourself another.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the most common reasons for throwing your gut out of whack. I think when it comes to healing it, looking at your food first. And when I say poor diet, it's not like, oh, you just eat like crap. It's like there's some foods that are massive triggers for your stomachs. So really taking a look, there's an entire list of foods to incorporate into your diet and foods to avoid. So I mean, when it comes to foods to avoid, they're kind of annoying, but like processed foods, alcohol, which to me, it's like, I love my glasses of wine. I will never give that up.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has, their little guilty pleasure. I'm not guilty about it, but processed foods, fried foods, ones that have like any of those bad oils for you, like canola oil, even, there's healthy substitutes that a lot of like gluten-free options or vegan options use, like a safflower oil. Those are also triggers to your gut as well. So we have blog posts on all the foods to incorporate and avoid. For foods to incorporate, it's a lot of foods with healthy fat. So when it comes to protein, salmon is really great in omega-3s, which is great for your gut. For vegetables, there's zucchini, asparagus. Asparagus is a prebiotic, so it helps nourish your gut as well. I think for me, this little recipe I have, or kind of balancing your plate, is focusing on 50% vegetables, filling up your plate with that, 25% protein, and 25% healthy carbs. So like a quinoa is really great. Sweet potato is really great for your gut. And then also just trickling in some healthy fats on top. And obviously everything in balance. I say eat the damn cookie too. Eat the piece of pizza when you want it, because you're supposed to enjoy food and that's part of life. But really trying to make sure you're in balance, and at least I would say 80% of the time, if not a little more, try and focus on really balancing out your plate that way. Because that's kind of when my stomach has truly felt the best, when I kind of use that little remedy.
And I feel like there's almost like a mental switch that maybe it's just when you start getting older, or maybe it's when you start experiencing some of these symptoms. Because I think that when I used to hear the word like diet, I would try and fill up my plate with all of that stuff so that I could look a certain way. Whereas now I'm like, I really want to figure out, like, from the inside out, how do I get healthier? How do I be the best version of myself from the inside out? And I think a lot of women are kind of trying to pivot that way, especially after COVID, because it's like we're all feeling a little out of whack, experiencing the same symptoms that you were experiencing. How did your perspective of the word quote unquote diet or your body image change once you became a health coach and started realizing that it's much more important to feel good than just to look good?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my whole journey with my body it's never been great. I mean, it's always been just that, a journey. I think when I was young, I'm one of three sisters and I'm the oldest, and my younger sisters were always just naturally so thin. They could eat whatever they wanted. And I had baby fat and I held on to it for a bit. And I always felt kind of like not the ugly duckling, but just like the odd one out. And I would look at all my friends, and when they were little, they were so thin, they could eat whatever they wanted. And I was just a little different. And I think when I hit high school and college, I became super hyper fixated on my exterior and having that thin body. And I'm a little bit of an obsessive personality where I'm kind of a perfectionist. So when I commit to something, it needs to be perfect. So in high school and college, I, had this idea of I needed to be X amount of weight and that would equate to my happiness. And I wouldn't stop until I got there. And once I got there, I was not as happy as I thought I was supposed to be. I actually felt probably the lost I'd felt in my life. And that's kind of where I had this groundbreaking realization, like, wait a minute, happiness and being healthy is so much more than your exterior look. And, the diet that you're trying to chase, like, that's not going to bring anything. And you are so much more than your body. And it really made me realize that. So that's kind of when I shifted the perspective. And instead of eating a certain way to look a certain way, I was eating to make me feel good. What would I do in my day to feel good from the inside out? Because that's what made me happy. There's nothing better than waking up or having a great meal and you're like, wow, that made me feel incredible. Like, your body's an engine, and kind of like a car. Are you going to put the crappy gas in it, or are you going to put the high quality gas in it? How do you want to run? And you want to preserve it for the future as well. So I think that's where the shift came. And once I kind of took that route, it really made me focus less on my exterior and more on like how I'm feeling, and also what that will allow me to do in my life. Because at the end of the day, I love this. This is kind of shifting gears a little bit, but like, I love now that we're in this kind of whole mindset of love your body every single day, exactly how it is. That's incredible. And I love that we're able to preach that. But to me, it's not completely realistic. It's okay to not love your body every single day. It's a little impossible. It's a journey. Some days you'll wake up and you'll feel so good. And I say on those days, wear your favorite outfit, compliment yourself, own it, because you feel so great. And then maybe the next day you wake up, you're like, oh, I feel like crap. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm just not happy. And that's okay too. You're not expected to feel great every single day, but it makes the good days that much better. And I think what's really important is being in control of those negative thoughts. So when they flood in, accepting them, feeling them, but then being capable of pushing them aside and being like, look, I have a million other things that I should care about more right now. I am so much more than that. I think that if you can just control those thoughts and like allow them in and then allow them out instead of just kind of trying to shove them away, I think that's what is extremely powerful.
I totally agree with you. And I also think that you had mentioned too, how mental health and gut health, they go hand in hand. And I think there is such a strong focus right now on mental health. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. I think it's amazing that people are finally opening up and being vulnerable and talking about it. And I think that something that a lot of people miss is the holistic approach to mental health, is that recognizing it, being okay with those emotions, but also kind of taking charge. Like, we have a little bit more control than I think a lot of people think you do. And a lot of it starts in your gut. You had told me a fact that like 70% of our serotonin or something lives in our gut.
So yeah, actually more. So 70% of our immunity lives in our gut and 95% of our serotonin levels. So
Insane.
I think this is actually the perfect time to like dive into gut health and kind of why we should care about it and how its kind of role in mental health. So, I mean, when you think of gut health, the majority of people think of its role in proper digestion, breaking down food, regulating bowel movements. But in reality, it is actually in control of almost every aspect of our health and well-being. So it supports a strong immune system. Like I said, 70% of our immunity lives in our gut. It aids in a healthy heart and healthy brain. So it improves cognitive function, your mood, your energy levels. It reduces your cravings. Sometimes, it's not like the odd, oh, I feel like a cookie. It's like when you're having these crazy cravings that you just have no idea why, they're just abnormal. It improves your sleep patterns. So it kind of, and also skin issues. So a lot of people who struggle from severe skin issues, we think a lot of the time it's trying to buy the latest and greatest beauty product out there and nothing's working. And in reality, so our skin is the largest organ on our body. So it's probably one of the first places to show signs of an imbalance in your gut. So when you're putting a Band-Aid on the problem, like using skin products, getting facials all the time, you're not actually healing it. If you can heal your gut first, other things will naturally fall into place. That's why we really wanted to start with the gut, just because it plays such a role in every aspect of your life. And we truly believe that healing the gut every single other issue for the most part that you could be experiencing. If it's anxiety, if it's depression, if it's struggle sleeping, if it's cognitive function, if you're having, energy slumps in the late afternoon, all of that can really kind of fall into place by focusing on your gut health.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's so interesting to me how much is affected just by something that seems so simple. And I think people get overwhelmed looking up information online about like how to heal your gut. There's a million products out there. There's a million of contradicting ideas of how you can do it. Can you break it down and simplify the couple things that we should be implementing, whether that's prebiotics or probiotics? Like what benefits almost everybody's gut?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so like I said, I think food comes first. So when those are simple shifts that you can make, and not that you have to give up a lot of your foods, it's more just like incorporating certain foods that really help healing your gut. So I mean, garlic is so good. That's something that's so easy that you can add into your meals, stirring in some garlic there. Bananas really help soothe and any bloating in your stomach. Like I said, healthy carbs, quinoa, a lot of whole grains, healthy fats with a lot of omega-3s. You can do berries. I can share a list if anyone is interested after with foods to incorporate. It's super simple. We have some debloating and gut supporting smoothie recipes for anyone who likes smoothies. That's probably the first place to start. And then if you're looking to really rebalance your stomach, the best place to start is with probiotics. So it's a simple supplement to take that adds in good bacteria to nourish your stomach again, because your gut is made up of trillions of live bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microorganisms that have a huge deal of influence over our health and well-being. So when outside factors, like I said, stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, antibiotics, when those occur, your bad bacteria actually take over your good bacteria, which leads to issues in your stomach. So probiotics help nourish your stomach with good bacteria to create a really healthy environment for proper digestion, for a strong immune system, and just overall happy stomach.
Interesting.
So no like uncomfortable gas, no, a lot of people suffer from either constipation or having, IBS. Probiotics are a really great way to incorporate some good bacteria to help with those issues as well. So when looking at probiotics, I mean, 95% of probiotics out there on the market, they have strains that fail to make it to stay alive by the time they reach your gut. So essentially doing absolutely nothing for you. So it really doesn't matter if, there's such thing called the CFU count. So, some companies boast about 40 billion probiotics in their supplement, and some may have 5. But if the survivability rate is not 100% or even 50%, they're essentially doing nothing for your stomach. So I think really when you're looking for a good probiotic, looking for ones that have research and credibility done to prove their efficacy. And so it doesn't have to be about the price point. It doesn't have to be about the CFU count. And you also want multi-strains because your gut is made up of so many different microorganisms, and that you need to match that with proper diversity as well. And then also a lot of people think that probiotics that are in refrigerators are the best. But in reality, if you think about it, like they're live organisms, right? So if they have to be kept in a certain type of environment and temperature to stay alive, what are they going to do when they're inside your body? Because your body is 97%, and if they're supposed to be in a fridge, which is significantly colder, what makes you think that they're going to stay alive by the time they reach your stomach?
That's a really good point. I've never thought about it that way.
I know it's something that and by no means am I like an absolute expert. These are things that I've, worked with professionals on. I have award-winning formulators that help with our products. So I like to be a little sponge and just absorb all the information because it's something that's so near and dear to my heart and my own journey. So I think probiotics are a simple way to incorporate some nourishing bacteria into your stomach to kind of help rebalance your gut. And then also I love digestive enzymes. For me, just because I suffer from such bad bloating and just uncomfortable gas stuck in the stomach, it really helps. So digestive enzymes, for anyone who doesn't know, your body naturally produces them, and that's what helps break down the food in your stomach. By our 20s, that number starts to reduce of the enzymes that your body's producing. And then also by the time you reach your 30s, you can become depleted, which is why our metabolism slows down, which is why we struggle breaking down food and digesting when we're older. So by just incorporating some extra support with digestive enzymes, you can speed up digestion, help your body easily break down food. It helps to beat bloating and gas and really maximize the nutrient absorption from the food you're consuming, because otherwise it just goes straight through you and you're not absorbing those nutrients. So what's the point in eating all this healthy food if your body's not going to flourish from it?
Yeah. I'm fascinated, mind blown right now. I've always wondered the difference between digestive enzymes and probiotics, and that was perfectly broken down. So then you start this incredible company, My Girl Wellness. How do you transition from being passionate and having all of this knowledge to becoming an entrepreneur and creating your own products?
Yeah. So honestly, to me, it was pretty simple. I mean, I wanted to fix my own issues. I had tried so many products out there on the market, and I always was just defeated with the results or lack of.
Yeah.
And so I teamed up with a formulating team, and created these products. And I was the guinea pig, which was so amazing because they fixed my issues, and they're products I take every single day. It's not just I'm creating this and it's, for someone else. It's specifically for me. So it's something I truly believe in. And then it was kind of a no-brainer that so many other women struggle with the same thing. So why not share, my solutions with the world? So I started formulating January 2020, so right before the pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
And we ended up launching them January 2021. So my whole message is that if I can start a business during a pandemic and get through it and survive,
you can do anything.
Because it's not easy. All the labs are closed, all the production, the manufacturer, my warehouses in China, everything was completely closed. So that's just a little food for thought that I thought I'd throw in.
Yeah, that takes a lot of patience.
Absolutely. But you know what? It was I look back and I'm like, wow, what a roller coaster. But look what we were able to accomplish through that. I mean, I have personally never felt better through creating these products for myself. And then it's just been so incredible. I mean, we launched our products a little over 3 months ago, and just the outpour of incredible messages from our community and pictures being sent in of before and afters of their stomach and how they feel now being on our Better Belly system. There's probiotics out there, there's digestive enzymes out there, and we really wanted to create a system that made sense. So something that kind of made a splash in the industry and the market that has not been done before. So we have our 3-step system, and this is all how I personally, with my formulator, we kind of agreed was the 3 steps in truly healing your gut. So step one is your probiotics. So our probiotics called gut goals. So achieving the gut goals that you dream of. So your probiotic step 1 is to nourish your stomach with good bacteria, replenish it, boost your immune system so you have a strong body. And then our step 2 are the digestive enzymes. We call them eat your heart out, because we want you to feel like you can eat whatever your heart desires and not have to worry about the outcome, the side effects, the bloating or the stomach pain after. So the enzymes help break down your food, help with digestion and alleviate any discomfort. And then our 3rd step is you go girl. So for lack of a better term, this is like a girl's poop pill. So girls poop, whether, we want to admit it or not.
Believe it or not.
God forbid our partner finds out. But so everything that's left over and that isn't serving us has to go. So with those 3 steps, my stomach has truly never felt better. We have so many women in the community who have really from the start gravitated to our products, and a lot of women who suffer with IBS or Crohn's, colitis, any of those stomach issues. We specifically chose strains in our probiotic to help ease those symptoms.
I'm ordering right now. Right when we're done with this, I'm getting my whole system.
But yeah, so I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer with creating My Girl, and like we have these products at the forefront right now. We're definitely expanding into other categories, but I think the gut, like we said, is it's your second brain. It's in control of so many of the most important bodily processes. And especially when it comes to like mental health, I mean, our stomachs are sensitive to emotions, and the gut brain connection is so important. And like I said, 95% of the serotonin levels are created in the gut. So if you are kind of feeling like you have nothing tangible to attach your anxiety and depression to, you might want to take a peek at your gut health. Your gut is connected to your brain through millions of nerve endings. So when your brain is experiencing something, it sends signals to your gut. And I'm sure you felt like this. Some days we feel sick to our stomach. If we're stressed or if we've gone through a traumatic experience, you can feel so nauseous and sick. And it's because of that, those signals being sent. They're both such intricate parts of the body, the brain and the gut, and they kind of go hand in hand. And it's really important that we nourish and prioritize both our gut and mental health because of how interrelated they are.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some daily practices that you incorporate into your routines to try and make sure that you are taking care of your mental health, you're lowering your stress, and really just focusing on improving that connection as much as you can?
Yeah, I mean, we're in such a weird part of life right now and the world because we're constantly going a million miles per hour. And when we're not, we are almost taught to feel guilty for not doing more. Like we never feel like we're doing enough. And so I've come to really realize that it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to take care of yourself. When you fill up your own cup and when you take care of your own body, you can actually accomplish more. So I think for me, it's my favorite way, and this is so simple, like walks have changed my life. And especially during the pandemic, I mean, it's such a stressful time. I would get outside and I would walk for at least an hour, hour and a half every single day. Maybe not at once, maybe a couple times a day, but that's what truly got me through the pandemic. And something about fresh air, something about even putting in your AirPods and listening to a podcast that inspires you or, invokes personal growth, something that you're interested in. I think taking a step out of that stressful situation and not kind of giving into it is something that I really prioritize. I've also set boundaries, and which helps really minimize my stress. I'm typically like a yes person. I struggle with saying no, and it tends to bite me in the butt because I overload my schedule, which stresses me out like crazy, or I'm constantly, I can hit burnout easily, and you don't really realize it until it comes. And a lot of people, misinterpret burnout as just regular stress. But, if you're feeling like lack of motivation and not enjoying the things that you usually love to do, and you're on edge all the time, that's not just stress, that's your body signaling that you're close to burnout. So I think really finding what works for you and what soothes and calms you and makes you feel your best again and kind of like recalibrates, So for some people it could be reading. Some people it could be, a few minutes of meditating. You don't need 40 minutes to meditate. If you can spend 3 minutes, even in a guided one, we have one on our page that we just posted. It can really shift you into like an effective, clear mindset. So walks for me, I do journal a little bit. I think even just sitting in silence by myself and saying to myself, either in my head or out loud, things that I'm grateful for, shifting perspective is huge for me, like why am I experiencing this? What is this teaching me? And if it doesn't make sense right now, having faith that one day it will. It'll make sense, and you'll look back and be like, okay, that's why I was experiencing that. That's why I'm here now, is because of that experience. And so just really trusting that.
I love that. Perspective shifts are everything. You can always see the good in the situation if you choose to see the good, but it's hard.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's hard. It's never easy, or, you can't sugarcoat it. Like, oh yeah, just like everything's fine. I'm fine. This is great. Life's good. It's like, no, but look at the bigger picture. Things don't happen to you for no reason. They happen to you for a reason. And that's where the actual growth comes from. It's not the easy times of just like the plain good times that, shifts your entire life. It's those pivotal moments where you might feel like you're at rock bottom. You might feel like you're at your breaking point, but that's when it really pushes you out of your comfort zone and tests you and your strength. You're not going to find your strength during an easy, lighthearted time. It's during the times where you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? And figuring it out because you have to.
Absolutely. I think we've at least been there, or we're currently in there throughout this pandemic. I think we're all trying to figure it out. And you launched Camp Conscious before Micro Wellness, correct?
Yes.
Far before. Okay. So walk me through what the inspiration behind Camp Conscious was, what your retreats look like. Tell me everything.
Okay. So when was it? 2019, maybe it's 2018. I think it was the fall of 2018. So I want to say I was 25 years old. And my background was in experiences. I loved putting on experiences. To me, even event planning, that I kind of did a lot of that in my previous career in college. When in my sorority, I was social chair, I was recruitment chair. I loved putting on experiences and making others happy. I really wanted to do it in the wellness space where I could make an impact in a positive way in women's lives. And retreats always sounded so fun, but the only retreats I really saw out there were kind of like granola-y, more just yoga, Zen. And it just wasn't, they're great. It just wasn't fully my vibe. So I created Camp Conscious out of a lack of my own, and I created something that like I truly wanted to attend and everything I was interested in, and someone who was my age would want to attend. So for those of you who don't know, Camp Conscious is a women's wellness retreat series. So it was a traveling retreat. So we hosted them in Mexico, in Miami. We were supposed to have one in Costa Rica, a big wellness festival in Los Angeles. And COVID hit in 2020. And overnight, my business completely crashed. Wow. I made every single deposit on all of our locations gone. Never got those back. And it was we were in business for over a year, I want to say, and we were scheduled to double in size the next year in 2020. So overnight, everything was canceled, which to me, it's like you're getting on such a high because you're like, it's working. And you have all these big dreams and plans. And then overnight, it just tarnishes. So that was that moment where you're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to mourn it a little bit, but then that's not going to change anything. That was me kind of, allowing myself to feel my feelings, and then, okay, what's next? What can I control? Because I can't control this. What can I put my time and energy and focus into? Which it was actually perfect timing, this is perspective. This was supposed to happen to me. Like it was teaching me something, So I actually started formulating my products for My Girl in January, right before the pandemic. So I was I overlapped the two businesses for 2 months of me working on them. So when March came and Camp Conscious crashed, it really forced me to put all my energy and focus into My Girl. So without the pandemic, I would have probably not started My Girl as soon as I did. I took the entire pandemic to really focus on My Girl, creating these products, fostering and creating this community of women. And Camp Conscious and My Girl are sister brands. So Camp Conscious is that aspirational, get out of your bubble, go meet like-minded women, learn about the latest and greatest brands and products out there in the wellness space. We do thought leadership workshops and discussions. We have founders fly out to give talks. We have incredible brands involved. We've had Vital Proteins, Health Aids, Suja, Bandier, Kopari, Kula, tons of CBD brands. So we would activate the brands, kind of offer parts of the experience. So we do daily workouts, we do meditations, we do tarot, we would do CBD massages, brunches hosted by certain brands such as Purely Elizabeth. So there was a lot of education. There was a lot of coming to just meet like-minded women from all across the country, which is so special. So that's Camp Conscious. And My Girl's like the day-to-day wellness, things we go through on the daily. We want to talk about more. We love to shut down stigmas and tackle taboos and really shine a light on everything we want to talk about as women and we experience, but might be too shy to talk about. We'll be that voice for you. If you want to talk about pooping, PMSing, orgasms, whatever it is, like My Girl's here to talk about it for you and be that voice. So at the forefront, we're a community. And then we also provide products and solutions to kind of help you along the way. So we started with gut health, and we are going to I'm going to manifest this, but hopefully be launching our second line of products in a totally different category, hopefully by November. My fingers are crossed. First time saying it out loud to someone else.
Yes.
Products that, and then I hope to have Camp Conscious back. We are scheduled to potentially host an event in LA, a big wellness festival that we were supposed to, COVID safe, of course, in August. So that's something that's in the works. I'm just feeling out if people are ready for experiences again. So would love to do that. But I think the brands both uniquely offer different but similar things. And I'm excited to kind of run with both of them and just really create a safe space for women to feel like welcomed, included, and heard.
Yeah. I mean, you're a game changer because there really isn't anything out there like it. There's a lot of like business retreats, there's a lot of networking events, there's stuff that's very like superficial that doesn't really dive into the deep topics that you guys are talking about. I think it's incredible.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. It's funny because I am such like a people watcher, and I love watching all the women who attend at the very beginning on day one, and you can kind of kind of vet out their personality types. And there's some that are, you know, a little reserved and shy or quiet, and then there's other bigger personalities. And by the end, every single one is so close, and people come out of their shells. People are like this. The first person that you would assume would keep quiet the whole time, at the end are the loudest people, having the best time and making such an impact in other women's lives there. And there's a lot of tears, and there's a lot of personal growth. And we would kind of team up roommates based on interest or proximity of where they actually live. And so many of the girls who met as roommates on the trip are like lifelong friends now.
That's so cool.
It's almost like it's hard to make friends as adults, you know, like after school and work. Where do you meet good girlfriends, especially ones that you have common interests with? So that was kind of our goal, was to, you know, you go on this trip and you're guaranteed to make some incredible friends.
Yeah, take care of yourself, have a kick-ass time. And like you said, I mean, making friends as an adult is nearly impossible without events like this. You know, like where else are you going meeting them? You're going to the bar by yourself and like meeting a girlfriend? No.
Exactly. So, I mean, some people are meeting on social media, which is great too.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's hard. And that was kind of a problem that I wanted to solve for myself. And I was like, how cool would it be to like know that if you go on one trip, you have complete faith that you're going to meet similar people because they're interested in the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. So you're hoping for an event in August. When do you think you guys will pull the trigger on that?
So probably by the end of the month. We're actually going to probably do a poll on our social today to see how people are feeling about events. I mean, events are happening. I'm excited about them coming up. Obviously, COVID safe, of course. It's a huge, huge location. It's beautiful in Los Angeles. Indoor, outdoor area. We'll be hosting panels and discussions. There will be different brands and influential leaders involved, founders of companies. We'll be doing some wellness activations. So crossing my fingers, I think it'll be that Saturday of, I think it's August 28th or 29th. So it was supposed to be August 29th last year. So
full circle.
If anyone's interested, it'd be great to hear.
How can people reach out to you? Where should they be finding you?
My Girl Wellness on Instagram, and same with our website. I am on it 24/7. So if anyone reaches out over messages, I'm happy to answer anything. If you have any questions around gut health, entrepreneurship, community, like a support system, anything you need, we're an open book. We love to host virtual events too on My Girl, to just have different topics and discussions to kind of cover. And if someone reaches out needing help in a certain area, we jump at setting something up for that. So if there's anything you're struggling with, reach out, and we'd love to support you any way we can.
You're an absolute badass. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for giving me so much of your time.
Of course.
You're amazing. You are welcome back anytime. If you're loving the I Am More Than podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review. It helps us so much. And if you haven't already, follow us on Insta at More Than Inc. for all things inspo, More Than merch, and soon we'll be posting info about our in-person meetups. We're so thankful to have you part of this community and are always here to remind you that you are so much more than. We'll see you next week.